Oh, tonight's stream gonna be lit. We got a bunch of callers ready to go. But for now, enjoy this intro. And don't forget to hit that like button. Hit the like button, please. Shout out if you want Watchtower mid set.
So let us not talk falsely now. Our is getting near. Watchtower, princess kept their
Well. 2019 Nashville, arguably one of the most cookie cutter, basic chick with a scrapbook and yoga pants on, drinking spice latte style show. But tonight was definitely different. After everything, this was not the same type of show Nashville got last time. And we're going to talk to someone who met Dave Matthews today. The D&B post show stream starts right about now.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, where Sean has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Nashville, what up? If your girl's in Nashville and she went to the Dave Matthews Band concert, you good. You got something to tell your baby when she get back home. If your girl is in Nashville and she's at a bachelorette party right now, you better focus on yourself, King. She ain't your girl no more. She belong in Nashville. It's the truth. So make sure your girl goes to the D&B show in Nashville and not the bachelorette party. Shout out to Nashville. Franklin, Tennessee, what up? Springfield, Tennessee, how y'all doing? Robertson County, what up? All the old retirees in Pigeon Form with the RV. I see y'all. I know what y'all do down there. Franklin, Tennessee, what up? Knoxville, U10, what up? Shout out to all the Vols out there. Shout out Southern Kentucky. Y'all kind of like right there, out just north of Nashville. I see y'all. What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Thank you guys for joining. We're going to get straight to it. We're going to get Gatlinburg. What's up? What's up? Gatlinburg. How y'all doing out there? So let's get this set list up. And we got a great show for you guys. We're gonna hit up some people that were at the show, and we got to start off with somebody who actually met Dave Matthews today, and we're gonna get the inside scoop right away for you guys. Richard's a Gators fan. Listen, I don't like Tennessee basketball either. I'm a UConn fan, so back in the day, we used to the UConn women used to scrap it out with the Vols, and of course, we got more titles. But RIP Pat Summit, she was a trailblazer, but we got more titles. And the UConn men just won a national title for basketball. All right, and the Vols are they every year they think they're gonna win the SEC. It don't happen, but still, we love the Vols, man. My boy went to U10.
Bruh.
So it's a great school. He was there when Lane Kiffin got decided to go to USC, and the people on campus were going crazy. So, all right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna reach out to our first guest, which is Connor F. So give me 1 second. We'll get him on the line.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Connor, we've been promoting the interview with you today. Let's start off with the show. What did you think of this show, your first show of this tour?
I could not have, we couldn't have picked a better show to kick off this tour with than Nashville tonight. A lot of surprises in there, a lot of great moments. We gotta get to the set list, as we go through, but as a whole, very, very, very good show.
And so this show, it starts off with two songs that are really, to me, bathroom break songs. When the World Ends in Satellite. What's going through your mind as they kind of start off with two of the weakest songs? I think it's the weakest two-song start of the tour.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I totally thought like Madman's was going to open, but When the World Ends in Satellite start, and I'm saying to myself, I really hope that we don't get another Bridgestone Arena 2019 show. And turns out I spoke that into existence, but at the beginning, I was just like, it's an okay way to start the show. I guess it's Dave on stage. Can't complain too much, but definitely the weakest part of the show was the first two songs, When the World Ends in Satellite.
So then after that, you get Madman's Eyes and Busted Stuff. What's going through your mind as you get two really solid songs, a newer one, and an older one that's being brought back?
Oh, Madman's Eyes, it's always sounded great live to me. They play that song very, very well. And then I went absolutely bananas when Busted Stuff started. And when Busted Stuff played, my dad, who's been going to shows for many, many, many years, actually completed the Busted Stuff album tonight. It was his first time seeing Busted Stuff as well. So pretty cool statistical moment for my father tonight. But
wow. And then he's been going since the 90s, is that correct?
Yeah, 96 was his first show.
Wow. So he missed those in 2002 and 2010, but finally gets it after all these years, almost 30 years, that's what, 27 years of going to shows, and he finally gets it. And that's kind of the theme. We had that theme last time they played it 2 shows ago. Or was that a show ago? Let's see. Yeah, 2 shows ago, it looks like here. Let's see, Busted Stuff. Oh no, 3 shows ago. But on May 20th. So I know it's a big thing. Let's skip all the way down to song 12. So Zach Brown comes out for Watchtower. Now, when you see, let's forget that it's Zach Brown. When you see them start to move around on stage, who did you think was going to come out?
So I saw them setting up the amplifier or whatever it's called, all the equipment, and I turned to my dad and my sister and immediately said, "Yeah, this is Bella Fleck. I know this is Bella Fleck." I was 100% confident it was Bella Fleck. I was saying to people around me that it was going to be Bella Fleck, and I was wrong, but I was pleasantly wrong. Zach Brown Band, when he announced Zach Brown coming out, it was probably the loudest crowd reaction I have ever heard at a Dave Matthews Band concert, and I'm not even kidding. Bridgestone Arena is a smaller place, so the noise is kind of packed in there. And when he announced Zach Brown, it was almost deafening how loud the crowd was. But I definitely thought it was going to be Bella Fleck, since Jeff posted on his Instagram about being in the studio or whatever, hanging out with Bella Fleck.
Yes, and I posted about that earlier. That I was like, hey, this is a dangerous precedent. I defend Jeff Coffin and any of the band members who just want to share some things with us. But when he's kind of encouraging or kind of saying, hey, in the post, hey, I wish wish Bella would be there. I was like, this is a dangerous road, but I agree. I think having oops, I got the wrong page up. But anyway, having Zach Brown come on is definitely gonna make people be okay. The next moment I want to talk to you about is they cover the Beatles' "I Want You, She's So Heavy" from Abbey Road. What was your thought as they began that song?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea what it was up until Dave started singing the lyrics. And I thought it was pretty cool that they busted that cover out. It sounded really well. I think they did a pretty good job live. And it's funny because when Dave had the baritone guitar that get brought up on stage, I was saying once again, hey, this is going to be After Everything. I just had a gut feeling that it was going to be After Everything. They play this cover, which they do a fantastic job at, and then it segues into After Everything. So those two songs, I said this earlier at the concert, they should do the "I Want You, She's Heavy" and "After Everything" throughout the tour. It sounded really, really good.
I agree 100%. Listen on Sirius XM Radio, DMB Radio Channel 30. If you don't got it, get it. Sign up for Sirius XM Radio. This is one of, I think this band this year has developed a couple of segues. They have, what is it? Madman's Eyes has been flowing in from, what is it? There's a song that's been, It Could Happen. Yeah, It Could Happen to Madman's. Now you have this "I Want You, She's So Heavy" in the After Everything. And, combine that with mid-set Watchtowers, which I'm all about. These are great things. And so After Everything goes into Granny. But I don't know if you know this, Connor. That Beatles cover was not on the set list.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that, and I was a little surprised as well that it wasn't on the set list. Something that new for them to do, not being planned, to me was kind of shocking. But it's cool. They should continue to do it. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome that it wasn't even on there and they still went for it and it sounded great. Let's see. We want to get your opinion on the sound. So you come back from the winter tour and you're waiting for you didn't go to any festivals, did you, this year? Did you go to Innings?
No.
Okay. So how do they sound now compared to the winter tour?
They picked it up right where they left off. The sound in the Bridgestone Arena was very well, very loud show. You could hear everybody on stage very well. The new sound system is still outstanding.
All right, and you head into. Are you going to Riverbend tomorrow?
Yeah, we're driving up to our hotel in Bowling Green, Kentucky right now. We picked to stay there because it's an hour closer to Riverbend.
Right. You're going north, and then you head over. You're going to head to the Ohio River for Cincy, right across the bridge from Kentucky. So, what songs are you hoping for tomorrow?
Bismarck for sure. I think Bismarck is going to open tomorrow personally, just as a prediction because of the tweet from my good friend Don Dingle. I also hope for any of the other new Walk Around the Moon songs. All You Wanted Was Tomorrow is a fan favorite of mine. And Two Step as well. I want them to bring Two Step back.
Yeah, and Riverbend was skipped over last year. It comes back. So I'm telling everyone, if you're watching this and you're going to Riverbend, there's still a lot of great things on the table. And the band only played 5 Walk Around the Moon songs. So that's good hope that they'll, maybe cut down from 7 or 8 to 5 or maybe 6, which is still great. You get some of the new stuff, but you still get a lot of the old stuff. But let's get to talking about meeting, and I'm gonna get the picture up here. Meeting Mr. David John Matthews. So walk us through, how did you meet him today?
So it wasn't planned, but every time we roll into a new city, we end up stumbling, finding the buses. And the story's going to go back to when we were in Denver last September, but we're walking around downtown. There's Dave's bus. I find the bobblehead Jesus in the window. So we're standing around a little bit. It's cold. So we kind of wanted to get to the venue since we were freezing. But we meet a woman named Sheila outside of the hotel in Denver. And very nice. We became friends online, chit-chatting online. Turns out she's in Nashville, right, staying with us. And she tells us the hotel that the band is staying at. My sister and I, my dad and my sister were walking down Broadway, checking out places, and we get told where Dave was. So my sister and I said, hey, let's go down there, walk down by the buses, try and see Dave. So we get to the Four Seasons in Nashville, and we're about 30, 45 minutes in. We see Dave's bus pull away, no big deal. He must have snuck out, blah, blah, blah. But another guy, which I don't remember his name, walked around the building and called everyone over, hey, they just pulled around the building. So we're running to the other side of this hotel, and about 5 minutes of waiting, there's Dave walking out the door, greeting everyone, signing stuff for people, taking pictures. It was really a surreal experience, something that I'm never going to forget, getting to meet Dave for the first time.
That's awesome. And any other band members there?
There were other band members there. I didn't get to meet them shortly after everyone else left the hotel and went on their buses and headed to the venue. But it was very cool getting to meet Dave, take pictures with him, getting to talk to him a little bit. Very kind, humble, and down-to-earth person.
Oh, that's awesome. So as far as when this happened, how long was he there, kind of greeting fans, would you say?
I'd say probably a solid 5-10 minutes. There were only like 20 of us outside of the hotel, but he took time to get to greet everyone that was there. It was pretty cool. Most people don't do that, so it was cool for Dave to interact with us a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely the quick hop in, get the bus, or sneak out type thing, and just kind of keep walking. So it's really, really generous of him to do that. I know this is something, almost every day of the tour, someone is trying to greet him. So it's awesome that he takes that time, shows that appreciation there. What was your dad's reaction as someone who's been watching this band since '96? What was it like for him?
So it's funny you bring this up. We met with some friends, right, at the Kid Rock place in Nashville, and we're sitting on the rooftop. And my sister and I are like, hey, let's go walk around. My dad stays behind with all the other people who are older as well. They've all been to hundreds of shows. Me and my sister are new on the scene, so it's just us two walking around. And the first time it's just us two, we meet Dave. So my dad and all his friends who've been to hundreds of shows didn't get to meet Dave. But, he was still happy for us, getting to, the two of us, we were absolute train wrecks when we got to meet Dave. So he thought he was proud of us, for getting to meet Dave.
Wow. So he wasn't there, and but you and your sister were there. So that's awesome. Well, hey, thanks for sharing that story again. This is a picture to last a lifetime. We'll try to check in with you tomorrow after Riverbend.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll 100% join the stream tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. You take care.
Yeah, of course. You take care as well. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. So that was Connor. And we thank Connor for being on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. So we're going to call. We got a couple people coming up here, but let me just check in. But Michael's watching. Let's see. Michael, if you're still in the chat, it may be easier if you just DM me your number on Instagram. I can call you from there. I don't know if Michael's still, and I'll ask here. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll probably have Michael on after our next guest. So we're going to call up. Well, first, let's see if we can get him on the line, as I believe he is on transit to Riverbend as well. Let's see. But thank you guys for staying on. And again, just I think one of the probably the worst starts of the tour as far as what people hope for, that energy out the gate. But wow, did they have some stuff after that. Wow, did they have some stuff. And it wasn't like, this isn't, I think the thing is, it's not like they had a crazy, like, oh, they played Spoon into, Kill the King, into Build You a House. It's just like, who could have predicted Zach Brown coming, unless you saw him, like unless someone saw him in the streets, right? and of course you had intel. But I mean, I think everyone was pretty shocked on that. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Let me also, I'm gonna see if we get our favorite taper. I'll get him this. We're gonna get on Henry. Let's see, from the Almanac.
Marcus, what's happening, man?
Hey, you are live on the post-show stream. Tell us about Nashville.
Show was great. Gosh, where to start? Kind of a slow start to the show. Like, I don't know. Everybody has their own perspective. When the world ends, not the best way to start a show, in my opinion. What was the second song? Satellite, was it?
Yeah. So When the World Ends, then Satellite.
Yeah, another one that everybody knows it, but doesn't. Hit me with the hell. This next song was Madman's Eyes.
Yes, Madman's Eyes was the next one.
Yeah, I think that's getting a better reaction this year, and this is the first show I've seen this year compared to last year. Last year I probably saw it 45 times, and the crowd sort of seemed like, what is this to me? But I thought it had I thought the crowd reacted to it better tonight. And for the first like 6 or 7 songs of the show, I was at my seats, which was 2 rows behind the pit, which is a terrible place to gauge the crowd because the pit had like massive space at this venue that you could have parked cars in that pit with the space left over in the back. And like we were right up against that, so you're sort of in this dead sort of area. But after the first few songs, I went back to the soundboard where we were taping, and you could get more of a vibe from the crowd. So, but I thought Madman's Eyes, for a song that got no reaction last year, I thought the crowd really liked it this year, and I'm starting to like that song, so I'm down. Next one was Rapunzel.
Oh no, Busted Stuff.
Busted Stuff. Oh yeah, crowd digs that song, man, and I love that song. I think that was the 11th time I've seen it. The band's playing it. I think it sounds better now than it did back then. I think Jeff is playing. The solo at the end with Jeff, I think, sounds amazing. Yeah, man. Overall, I mean, I go song by song, but man, I thought it was great. The venue sounds terrible, like just sounds absolute garbage. So don't blame the sound guys for it sounding so bad. That's a venue not designed for concerts. And it just sounded terrible. But show was great, man. Zach Brown was great. I'm not personally not a fan of Zach Brown, but the crowd loved it. And you know, a song like "All in the Watchtower," where back in the day you heard it all the time, and it kind of got a little stale. Now it's not played near as much anymore. So I thought the crowd loved it. He's a great guitar player, and yeah, man, a great show. The older stuff, like Rapunzel, this band still got it. Still sounds great. Crowd still loves that song. Gray Street, everybody's always gonna, not everybody, but the crowd always loves that song, and it sounds really good. The new songs I thought were received pretty well. It was the Beatles song, "I Want You." She's So Heavy. That sounded fantastic. I don't know how many of the listeners heard it on the Sirius stream, but
Yeah.
the band sounded so good with that song. And then segging into the new song, it sounded really, really good.
And I don't know if you know this, I got a copy of the set list about 75% through the show. That Beatles cover was not on the set list. It was supposed to be 41 into After Everything.
So I got privy to a set list during the show too, and we also saw that, which was interesting because that song has been rehearsed. Like, "I Want You," it wasn't like just impromptu, like, "Hey guys, let's see if we can figure out this Beatles song. Ready, set, go." Like, you could tell it's been played. And so that was interesting that they didn't put it on there. They just decided to do it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
thought it sounded great.
and they definitely kept it under wraps. I mean, we saw video of Busted Stuff. I think everyone on Instagram put their heads together and said, yeah, they're practicing Busted Stuff. Whenever they have practiced that, and it wasn't at sound checks the Houston or Dallas shows, because people were outside those shows and we didn't hear it. So they definitely did a great job of keeping it under wraps, not even putting any sort of thing there like solo improv, just to go, have 41 After Everything and then to have that in. I think that's a segue. What Connor said, I agree with him. That's a segue they should keep on this tour and keep it in rotation. Because it sounds good. Now, what did you think? Let's go to you. As far as, obviously, if you guys don't know, Henry is part of the D&B Almanac team. From a studio album standpoint, what are your thoughts on Walk Around the Moon as an album?
So some people know this about me, even though when you say I do the Almanac stuff, I'm one of the people who listens to a lot of music and enters song notes and finds tapes out in the ether and at sometimes, and that's my role at the Almanac. Some of the guys do like IT things, and some guys are sort of an adversarial role, and I'm there like doing that kind of stuff. There are 3 Dave Matthews albums that I've listened to exactly once and have not listened to again. One of them is Some Devil, the other is Come Tomorrow, and the other is Away from the World. those three out. I mean, I've been to 124 Dave Matthews shows now. My first show was in '96. I can tell you all about the progression of number 41 because I've listened to every one of those performances and I'm way into it. But those three albums, I listened to a single time. I didn't like them and I haven't touched them since. But all the other albums, I know every single note on it, played it a gajillion times. I love this album. I love every song on it. Walk Around the Moon, as soon as I started hearing that, I heard that at shows last year. Love this song. I love everything about it. Madman's Eyes, I didn't really like it first, but it's totally growing on me as I listen to the album more and more. I love Monsters. Singing from the Windows, Looking for a Man. I mean, I love the whole thing. I don't think it's produced, no, I don't think it's mixed really well. Like the sound of the drums, I don't really like. I think it sounds a little muddy and mushed in the sounds on the album. Like you can tell Steve Lillywhite didn't do this album, and I really like the sound of those. But in terms of like songs and the songwriting, I love it. Is it Before These Crowded Streets? No, but we're never going to get another Before These Crowded Streets. But no, man, I love the album, and I haven't loved a Dave Matthews Band album in 14 years.
Wow.
Which I never thought I would say. Like, Under the Table and Dreaming, I listened to that thing 5 times a day for like 2 years when I was a kid when it came out.
Wow.
I remember the first time I heard Best of What's Around was the song that got me into the band. I remember being in my room at 14 years old trying to find a piece of a song on one of my sister's CDs that I loved the sound of this part of the song, and so I put that CD in my CD player and went track by track and tried to find it, and I couldn't find it. So I'm like, crap, I got to listen to every single song start to finish. And it was the first track on Under the Table and Dreaming. It was the outro to Best of What's Around. And I've listened to that song literally a 1,000 times, maybe more. But the last 2 albums, I have no idea what Snow Outside sounds like.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you. Gaucho, not a clue. There's songs that I've seen live that I know them, but I don't even think I've seen those live because I haven't been to a lot of shows in the last 15 years. But I love this album. I think it's great.
I gotta tell you, first you gotta listen to Some Devil one more time. If you don't like it, just that is an album that to me just emotionally connects with some different things in my life. But I think the other thing is, if you guys are listening, this is amazing that you are somebody who's literally put certain albums away after one listen. And listen, Come Tomorrow, I'm not a huge fan of. Away from the World, I like the studio. I don't like it live, but I can understand if someone like you that started in '96 doesn't like it. But the fact that you're so, thrilled by this album as far as the songs, the way the songs are in the songwriting production aside, I think that says a lot about this album. That you're excited about it.
Yeah, a couple of things about that. The first is I have a really strong willpower. Like I can just mind over matter things, and so I like the fact that there's a Dave Matthews Band album I haven't heard in 20 years. And I mean, Dodo, have no idea what it sounds like. Up and Away, not a clue. There's a song in there called Baby, I think. Baby, not Baby Blue, but Sun. I mean, I don't even know the name of the song. That's how poorly I know that album. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking maybe this is the year that I listen to it. But if I wanted to, I could go another 20 years and be in my 60s and have this Dave Matthews album that everybody, and of course I know Gravedigger and Stay or Leave, like the one that So Damn Lucky was played tonight. I obviously know that song.
Right.
But I have no idea what it sounds like on the album, and those other songs in there, not a clue. And I intentionally stay away from the David Friends work on the Almanac, like those 2 months of shows they played. I intentionally don't do any work on those shows so that I don't accidentally start listening to songs that I'm intentionally like staying away from, because I want to have the moment where I can put on a Dave Matthews Band album that isn't new, that's literally decades old, and really give it a first listen, even though it'll technically be the second listen. And I got two more albums. I mean, how long is Come Tomorrow, which came out before Away from the World, or the other way around?
It came out after Away from the World.
And when did Away from the World come out?
2012,
2012?
yeah. September 11th, 2012. They played the full. Also, you may want to avoid that Izod Center show, the old Continental Airlines Arena, because they played every song from that album at the Izod Center like a little bit after that came out, which was a first for the band to play an entire album of that length. You know, obviously, I'm sure they may have done the what's it called? Remember Two Things may have been played fully, but like the studio albums after that that we officially count are there. And also, just guys, let you guys know, the number one spot. I'm hearing mixed things, but it's not a guarantee DMB gets that number one album spot. Morgan Wallen, I don't want to go too into the opinions and how people feel about him, but he has a following, and it's a following that's mysteriously growing and growing and growing, no matter how much people don't like him and no matter how many things he goes through. So it's gonna be it's gonna be, even with the physical copies, they may not get the number one spot. That streak may end, and just like Titanic, Morgan Wallen has an 11-week run. Titanic had a little further run for Before These Crowded Streets, but he has an 11-week run at number one and has sold over 100,000 in some of these weeks, which is unheard of now, to get 5-6 weeks.
Completely unheard of now.
Yeah.
Like that. The fact that people are buying an album enough to be number one for like more than a single week.
Yeah.
Like once all the pre-orders get in hand, then like, are people really buying albums all that much anymore? And to do that for 11 weeks, I mean, that's incredible. And I don't know anything about this artist, but think about Titanic. Titanic, that movie came out at Thanksgiving '97, and it was still number one in April of '98. Like that is. And the fact that Before These Crowded Streets knocked that off of number one, something, and I don't know how many people are listening, remember anything about Titanic and how like epic that thing was, and the fact that Before These Crowded Streets knocked that off. I just hope that this album makes it to number one, because I think it really deserves it more than the last two. And I mean, some people may think the last two are their favorite albums, and you like what you like, but I don't know. I hope this one gets that spot. I'm not the kind of person who really cares much about who's number one, but I hope it gets it.
Yeah, and it's weird because as someone who loves hip hop, they have numbers for hip hop 2 days after. Like if it's Friday comes out, on Sunday, there's rumors of there's projected this, and I haven't gotten any projection. I mean, I've seen stuff. I don't know what to believe, and I don't pay for the Billboard articles. So we'll see. Once it's official, we'll definitely talk about it. But just some perspective, and the one other thing, and then we'll let you go. We're gonna definitely have you on at some point this summer again. But one of the things that's kind of not a debate, but it's kind of how do you place this? You guys have the Mexico shows on the Almanac as part of the summer tour. Are you able to share kind of why you made that decision, or is that something, hey, we just made a decision, we don't want to talk about it?
No, we'll talk about it, no problem. It was a lengthy discussion, and there was the team tour and the team not tour. Not to say that people are like picking sides and sticking to it, but there's two arguments to be made. One is there are international shows that are happening with a number of days between them and that Woodland show. I think they were like the 9th, 11th, and 13th, and then the Woodlands is the 19th, I think, if I remember that right. And And so it's like, is that an international tour? Because we separate those, but are 3 shows really a tour? Like, how do you do rarities with 3 shows? I mean, none of that stuff really fits. So, but the band has also played in Canada during a summer tour and fall tours, and have played more than 3 shows in Canada in certain tours. So the fact that they were in other countries and that there were 3 of them, we saw as not having as much relevance as they're going to play the same kind of songs in these 3 shows as they're going to play in the rest of the tour. It's close enough to it that we don't want to call them miscellaneous shows. For all intents and purposes, when it comes to rarity and data and stats and kind of what we exist for, we can't think of enough good reasons to exclude them.
Yeah.
So by default, we should include them as the tour. That's kind of where we landed. And it wasn't just like somebody just decides, like, we talked about it, but that's pretty much where we landed.
Gotcha. And you know, I was somebody after talking to Zach throughout after every show, and then some other fans. As each show went by, I felt more inclined to add it to the summer tour because they didn't have that same European feel where they're here's a cookie cutter festival set. Here's this, like they were going all out. And as we look back now, a week since the opening American show and a couple of weeks from the Mexico shows, the shows are very similar. The only real thing is you could argue the first 2 Mexico shows were better than any of the American shows so far, depending on set list, your feeling, the sound. I mean, they really, what should have been a training camp of cookie cutters to get work out, they were bold and they played busted stuff full band in Mexico first before it came to the States. So I think it was the right call, and I think it's like you said, there's not enough to rule it out of the tour of what you would call a summer tour.
Exactly. And that's exactly, we couldn't think of enough reasons to rule it out. So we're like, we're going to include it. And then, as you say, once you saw the set list, we knew we'd made the right decision. One last thing, and then we'll hop off, I guess, about the album. I wanted to say one more thing about it. There's a song, obviously a song in there, Something to Tell My Baby.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard that one live was in, when you go to a lot of shows and time passes and you're busy with life, sometimes you forget details, but I think it was the Tampa show last year. It was right after, or it might have been Jacksonville. Honestly, I don't remember which one. I think it was Tampa, but I believe it was right after the Uvalde shooting in Texas. And we just moved from Texas, and not getting political about it, but you could hear Dave sort of like talking to the crowd in a personal way and trying to connect with them and explaining his sort of mindset to a song and sort of connecting you with it in a way that it connects with him. And then this really soft, quiet song that, regardless of where your opinions are on things, you can at least relate to it a little bit in terms of a situation like that. As a parent, you see children in a certain way and something tragic like that happening and somebody in your life just disappearing in an instant without you really being prepared for it or knowing that it's going to happen. And it's I listened to the record version of the album. I've got a record player in my work room where I am most of the time, but that's the medium that I generally listen to it on. It's the last song on the first side of the record, and I don't know, it just kind of pulls on my heartstrings a little bit. Not just because I was at a show when Dave talked about it in a certain way, and I did track that Dave speak out on its individual track when I converted the show after, but just like the way he talks about that moment, and I'm super, and just the way he did it and what that song talks about and the way it connects with me. I know we all have songs that we really connect with, and it makes some of those albums that they're on our favorite albums because this one song and this one thing is on it. And I think that also helps me say that I really love this album because of that moment I have with that song and kind of what it means to me at the time that I heard it for the first time.
Gotcha. And I don't know if you heard, there's the Sirius XM version of the album has a different mix. And if you have Sirius XM, I can show you offline or get it to you. But I heard it at midnight last Friday and I was like dead tired, fell asleep halfway through the album. I listened back to it today on the replay, and there are distinct differences in some of the sounds, especially Walk Around the Moon, the title track. So that's a homework assignment for you, is to listen to the Sirius XM version. Like I said, I'll talk to you about that. But it's to me, it's better. The Sirius XM version is better. And essentially, you only can get it if you listened at midnight last Friday, or if you have the Sirius XM app. You can hit the replay, and they have commentary of Dave talking about the track plays, and it goes to the last song. So that it's
I'll definitely check that out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've taken albums that I know really, really, really well and like MP3'd them into a really low quality MP3 with lots of like distortion and compression and all that stuff. And the sound, it'll actually sound different to your ears when you do that to it.
Yeah.
But it's not because it's a different mix. It's just being like super compressed and a bunch of data pulled out of the songs. But if you're saying it's a different mix, I'd love to hear it, like different sounds on guitar parts or vocals being higher or lower. I'd love that stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely different mix. And it does help that it's a different mix because certain sounds are there that aren't there. And then it is also, when you put your Sirius XM app to the highest quality, it's lossless, which helps. So it's two things that make it better. And thank you for coming on. And like I said, we'll try to catch up with you and get you on the show, as a full discussion soon.
Sounds good, man. Looking forward to it. Have a good evening. See you later.
All right, take care. Peace. Yeah, and I think with something to tell my baby, people with families, if you're married and you have, especially people who have kids, that song is hitting differently. And this whole album, I think, and not that you could be single and not have any kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think people that have children, that have a full family, whether your kids are in high school, whether they're elementary school, whether they're babies, especially people that are just having kids that are young, a lot of these songs are hitting. And I may talk about that as far as after everything. Stay tuned. I don't want to guarantee it. Right. This is not, the difference has to do with technology. Seriously, can't broadcast in Dolby Atmos. It's not that. Like, there's clear, distinct. There's things that you would think Dolby Atmos would have. Right. Apple Music has Dolby Atmos capabilities, but no, there's clear, like, it's different. Like, there are parts in Walk Around the Moon that you hear in the non-Dolby Atmos Sirius XM mix that I don't hear with my headphones that are Dolby Atmos capable into my laptop, and then setting the settings on my Apple Music to lossless Dolby Atmos. So it is. I was doing it today. I won't make a video on that because I don't want to. With albums, I can be very particular. I try not to play audio. I think you should listen or support the record, even if you listen to it on YouTube. But I'm not going to do that, especially with SiriusXM having that exclusivity. Stream it on SiriusXM. That's what I would tell you. As I did today, listening back to the full album and then stopping it, playing it on my iTunes. And again, both of these things I'm subscribed to. Let's see. But very great conversation with Henry. And again, he's part of the Almanac. I love hearing about these discussions. Michael, I don't see Michael, but hey, Oh, and Michael, he said something about, oh, my girl's with me is good. Yeah, I was just making a joke, but I'm serious. But it is somewhat serious. If you're, and plus, I think Michael's married anyway. But for the youngins, I think like Connor's in his early 20s. Like if your girl has friends going to Nashville for the bachelorette party to get crazy, just think about it. I'm just saying from experience, y'all. Your boy, Conservative 34 is married now, but I used to be single. And yeah, if her and her girls are going to Nashville for the bachelorette, that's a red flag. Just it's a red flag. If they go somewhere else, they go to Boston, New York. Hey, what is that? But if they go to Nashville, let's see, John. I don't know if John is coming. Let's see, because I was supposed to have John and Michael. Michael, hit up the chat. I don't see John yet. We'll try to hold on for him. Yeah, we'll try to hold on for John. Let's see if we can get some things here. I love what I'll say is that here's a couple of things as far as the set list. I love Watchtower mid set. I think that's great. I think it should always be mid set. I don't like it closing out shows. I want to end with the D&B show. I don't even closing out the main set. The main set or the encore. Another thing here, let's pull this back up. They only played 19 songs tonight. They only had a 2-song encore. But again, we did get a I Want You, She's So Heavy. You could argue that would be 20. That would get you to 20, even though it was a partial. And no 3-song encore, which we've seen on the plan, the playbook. And they did it for some, and some of them they just went down to 2. Henry talks about the sound of this venue and that Bridgestone isn't meant for concerts. But they have a lot of concerts because it's Nashville. There's an overflow. It is wild. I know they have they built an amphitheater somewhere in Tennessee. I mean, they have some amphitheaters in Tennessee, but it is kind of wild that they don't have an amphitheater. They have a lot of great venues of different sizes. And then they have the football stadium. They're gonna build another football stadium as well for over $1 billion, and that's gonna have a roof so that they can have they're building it with the retractable roof so they can have all sorts of events. But they don't have an amp. They have Ascend. They have the Ascend amphitheater, but it's too small. Like Dave and Tim played it, but Dave Matthews Band would be way too small, especially for the market. Women can't go to that. No, that's not true. They can have a girls trip, but if it's the bachelorette party, that's a red flag. Hey, Connor, pay attention. Listen to my teachers. Yeah, they go to Nashville for the bachelorette. It's a wrap. If they go for just a girls trip or spring break, but they go for the bachelorette part. That's a red flag. And I'm only half. I'm half kidding, but it is a half truth. There's nothing wrong with the girls' trip to Nashville, guys' trip to Nashville. What else? The other thing we got to talk about is Bella Fleck was not there, but I think that Dave bringing on Zach Brown was a bonus, and that kind of makes everyone forget about it. I posted this before the show, and I think it's crazy that, and this is just, I mean, it is the internet. This is what happens in the internet, and for bands like Fish, it's even worse. You have people are always going to complain, and listen, I have my opinions, right, and some of them are very strong, but I don't go to the band's pages like Jeff Coffin and as recently Buddy, people were commenting, or one person was commenting on his thing, saying all this type of stuff. And oh, here's the post. But it's like Buddy Strong isn't gonna tell Dave what to play, nor is Jeff Coughlin. Like being mad at Jeff Coughlin last year because of set list. I understand, right? They post a set list, but it's just they're giving us behind the scenes photos, and some of that is that set list, written out version of the set list for they print. So I had this post here, and sometimes Stefan does this. And well, listen, now we're getting busted stuff. So shout out to Stefan. Yeah. But the second one is what we'll talk about. The first one is, listen, I don't complain. Listen, we have forums, we have this. Listen, call into this. If you go to a show and you're mad about the set list, let's talk about it here. But like to go on the band, like to Buddy's page, he's visiting the Civil Rights Museum and having some food and seeing the Walk of Fame for Nashville. So he's been to Memphis and Nashville in the last couple of days, and he's been sharing a lot. Seems like he's very happy and excited. He always is, but he's like even happier and even more excited based on some of the stuff we've been able to see. So like people complaining, it does nothing. And the guys like on the Buddy post, hey, I can't have an opinion on Facebook. Like, no, you can have an opinion, but don't talk about like don't yell at, hey, make better set lists. Like no. And then the second part, this if Bela Fleck did not, like if he didn't guess and Zach Brown didn't guess, and then Jeff Coughlin alludes to, hey, we need to, I hope we can play with Bella sometime soon. They did some studio work the other day, yesterday, or really the 25th. It's the 27th here in the state. Actually, yeah, it's almost the 27th in Nashville. But he has this picture and he promotes that he's doing studio work and says, I hope they can play with, he made it seem like they had limited time and then Bela had to go somewhere else. But it wasn't 100% confirmed. There's no show that Bela had that's on the books. Maybe he had a clinic, maybe he had some other things, but there was nothing. So Jeff Mason, I only have this little time with Bela, but if only he could play with D&B again, right? That's a dangerous route, and I think people have a right to be upset if you're teasing it and it may never happen, or maybe it does happen. And sometimes Stefan would do stuff like that. And again, I'm not mad or yell at him, but when you do stuff like that, you can, if you get some of that heat, is it right? Maybe not, but at the same time, you are kind of leading people on or pumping up the fan base a little bit. So that's that's kind of the thing. There's a thin line as far as, and listen, everyone has different opinions, but I feel like there's a thin line between how much you hype up or lead or tease fans, and then they're not have the right to be upset if something doesn't happen or or doesn't go as planned. So that's my take on that. The other thing is with Dave. The thing with Dave, it seems like the last couple of shows, a lot of people have been able to meet him. They're in smaller metro area. Now, Nashville's big, right? So today is an exception, and Connor was able to see him. But people in South Haven, in / Memphis area, they were able to see band members, and it seemed like they were more accessible because there was just less DMB fans. Also, when we had the show in Rogers, Arkansas, it appeared that the band, the day before and the day of that show, people were able to meet Dave and the band. Everyone does it differently, and hey, if you see him, you see him. But it appears, for me, what it seems like is that the lesser popular D&B market, or if they're overseas, the more they're able to breathe and feel comfortable to go out, and maybe the more likely you'll see them. Like in New York or Chicago, or Boston, they may go to a baseball game, right? But you're not gonna be able to see them unless you're in that box suite with them, or VIP. But when they're in these smaller markets in Europe, they're less visible and they seem to be a little more out there. Now people see the band at bigger stops too, but it's just an interesting thing. Me personally, I probably wouldn't go to like a hotel, or that's just me. If there was an opportunity for me to, like, if someone said, hey, the band wants, or something like that, or even a band member, right? And they say, hey, we heard it's your boy Conservative 34, pull up. I'm pulling up, right? No, make no mistake about it. But I don't, or if I run into them by chance, I probably would end up then saying, all right, hey, like I'm out and I'm actually out with the family or with, or out and about and I run into them. I may say something real quick, hey, this and that, keep it moving. That's just me. Everyone's different. Everyone has what they like to do. But again, it would be a huge moment for me. I'm not saying I would not downplay that. I'd be like, man, I'm honored to meet, but I don't see myself going camping out, or even some people, the bicycle routes and stuff. Nah, I want them to be able to have as much of a ability to walk freely as possible. So that's my take on that. Speaking of, another thing we can play. You think let's see if I can find it. You guys think DMB fans are loud? This Beyonce thing was wild. So Beyonce has a show. All right, let's go back to this. I'm gonna put my headphones on so we can hear. So this is a Beyonce show. I think she's overseas right now. That's why this is a little smaller venue. But Homeboy was singing to the point where I think Beyonce is trying to act nice and also say, hey, but she has that look like, if you don't, she was 1 second away from like, boy, you better stop singing this song so loud. Let's take a listen. This is Beyonce at a show. Someone is in the pit, and this is how it goes. Yo, that's wild.
Bruh.
Like that's crazy, man. That's but hey, the Beehive, they got some passionate fans. So I don't know if we're gonna get John. Oh, as I say that, the big homie steps in. I was like, all right, I gotta go to bed. But this was a big show for John because he lives in the Nashville metro, and 2019 was one of the worst shows ever. As far as, again, for fans, just give us one or two deep cuts, and there was no deep cuts. It was a trash show, and well, yeah, I know one man's trash. Someone's gonna say no, but it could be a great. No. Nashville last year was absolute trash, absolute trash. So we're gonna talk with John, the hometown homie, who's gonna be talking about this show, and we'll go over that. We want to talk poster as well, because John gets posters to every show he goes to, whether he likes it or doesn't. He likes to collect them. All right, let's get John on. John, how you doing?
Hey man, how you doing? Just got home from the show.
So, what did you think as after everything that happened, pun intended, in 2019? What did you think about this show?
This was much better than the 2019 show by far, by miles. I had a really good time at the show. It was a good mix. We got the first guest of the tour, which was Zach Brown, which I thought was going to be Bella Fleck since Jeff Coffin posted that tweet or whatever. But I guess that was a troll job about Bella guesting or whatnot. But I guess we'll take Zach Brown as a consolation prize on a mid. That was actually my first mid set watchtower I think I've ever gotten in 20 years.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive to
Yeah.
go that long. And so they start off the show with a couple duds. What were you thinking after the first two songs as far as where this show was gonna go?
Actually, I love When the World Ends. That's actually one of my favorite songs. So I wasn't too upset about When the World Ends. Satellite, it's not in my top 500 of DMB songs, but I mean, it's a classic, so I'll take it any day. And then, Madman's Eyes, it's kind of, you're kind of expecting a new album song by then. And then they went into Busted Stuff, and then PNP, Walk Around the Moon, Virginia in the Rain. That's a good tune. Then I went to the bathroom during Don't Drink and Jimmy Thing. So those came right on time. But overall, it was a fun show, man. I had a really good time, and I felt like the band had a good energy tonight too.
Now, take us through. Obviously, you're a Beatles fan, correct?
Not hard.
So you're a Beatles fan, one of the few people who loves the Stones and the Beatles, right? No,
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I just play, but or it really doesn't have a you like both. So walk us through when they start. I want you. She's heavy into After Everything. What was going through your mind? What were you feeling at that time?
My mind was blown. Like I did not see that coming a million miles because it wasn't on the set list either.
Yeah,
But I did not see that coming a million miles away when that riff hit, and then Stefan hit the bass riff in that. I was like, oh my god, they're playing a Beatles song from Abbey Road, and I was just elated. That was awesome. I'm glad that they are incorporating that into that song, just because that song does sound like a Beatles song already.
yeah,
And it's just like they're just like, to me, that's just like Dave acknowledging, like, you know what, this song is definitely was inspired by the Beatles. I'm a huge Beatles fan growing up. Everybody knows that the Beatles were one of Dave's biggest inspirations growing up.
yeah.
And I just like that. That just puts more acknowledgement on the song that, hey, this is a tribute to the Beatles. This is my Beatles song, basically.
Absolutely. And we were saying earlier this is a segue I think that would be awesome. That also allows for the Walk Around the Moon count goes from 7 or 8 for the last couple of shows down to 5.
Yeah,
Which,
that was definitely noticeable tonight too. The set felt way more balanced.
yeah, and the crowd, at least from the Sirius XM stream, listening to the live mics at the Houston show. And yeah, you had some yellers in Houston, and perhaps we don't get when you're on Sirius XM, it's at the mercy of where the mics are and who's being picked up, what they mute live with the live audio. But tonight just sounded like a crowd that was like excited about all of these songs, new and old, from
Rowdy
Madman.
crowd tonight.
Yeah, from Madman's and Walk Around the Moon, which Henry mentioned. Madman's last year at SPAC, people were walking out at SPAC. So in every day got the loudest cheer that same night. So it's like to go from that to now these songs are being appreciated, and to have these non-new album songs mix in with the album songs. That's great, and it gives me hope as I wait for my shows in the Northeast. So let's talk about the poster now. I want to ask you this question because again, you live in Tennessee in the Nashville metro, and we're gonna pull up.
I pass on this poster.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my specific question: Does it feel like? Does it feel Nashville like the colors and the take away the city skyline, but does the colors, does it feel Nashville like or does it not?
Uh, I guess so. I mean, once you get outside of Nashville, there is a lot of greenery, and there's a lot of great parks and golf courses and things like that. Once you get outside of the downtown metro area, so yes, that could be a representation of Nashville, because what people think of Nashville is not really what Nashville really is. So yeah, that is a good representation of Nashville, I think. I just didn't like the artwork on it, and I had several times like I got the email to buy the poster. It sat there for a minute in the cart, and I was like, nah. Then I got to the show right at 7:30 because I was running super late. The poster was still there at the merch stand in two merch stands. I said, nah. Then my friend was like, hey, I bought an extra poster. It's yours if you want it. After the show, I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna pass on this one. I think this is where I'm gonna draw the line. Like this poster really like did not touch me at all. Even though it's a hometown show, I just didn't feel like I needed to have it, so I passed on it.
Guys, you don't understand. Like, John buys the poster to every show. Like, he goes down to the South Haven, the Pensacola, Florida shows, and he gets the poster no matter what. The poster literally, someone sticks him up out in the parking lot, says, "You here, take this poster and $20," and like he gets the
Yeah,
poster.
this is the first show that I passed on since 2018.
Wow, that's
In 5 years.
crazy.
Yeah, 5 years.
And you've
This is the
had
first time.
from 18 to 2023, you've had what, at least 50 shows?
No.
Oh, really?
My 50th
Or
show was in 16, so I'd say probably 40, maybe around 40.
okay, so 40 shows,
Yeah,
and you got all these posters, but tonight you did the pump, pass, and kick
yeah. I'm hoping to not
program.
tomorrow's poster is a lot better. We should
Yeah,
be due for some heat tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see.
yeah, and this reminded me of a Guilford poster. Let me pull
It
that up for
did.
you.
It did
Uh,
remind me of that Guilford poster from last year.
and for those of you guys who weren't, I think it was 2021.
Is that the one with
Those,
the birds on it?
yeah, with the birds. So I was at that show. So yeah, it was 21. 21. Oh, by the way, the 21, won't you do something for me? That the Rich Flex thing, I think it got there was like a little bit of a, like, my video couldn't be shown in a couple of countries because of the copyright. So I
Hilarious.
can't I can't play that. And that's not 21 Savage. That's Drake. That's Drake's. Let's see. Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. This was a weird year because of I think I got it. Yes. So this is what it reminded me of.
Same
Uh,
artist too, right?
who did this? I don't know who did this. It could have been because the clouds look exactly the same.
Yeah, the
And I was
same
like,
font
this
and patterns.
I was like, this looks great. This I didn't end up getting the poster, but I'm very like selective. Even if it's a good poster, like sometimes I'll still not get it. But I was like, this looks like Lake Winnipesaukee. It looks like the lakes region of New Hampshire. And I was like, this matches, but I guess you have a point. You're in Nashville. Once you get outside of the city limits, it is very, like you said, there's countryside and things like that. So that makes a little more sense. And I appreciate you answering that question because that was my biggest question. I'm like, I had never been to Nashville, so and I've never been to Tennessee. So the fact that you said the matches does answer that. Any things you're hoping for in Riverbend?
With this tour, no, just because it's an album tour, and this tour's already exceeded my expectations for an album tour. I've gotten Busted Stuff, I've gotten You Never Know, I've gotten Break Free, I've gotten Pig. I've gotten Graves, Warehouse Nancy's. If you take all the 4 shows that I've been to 4 shows out of the 5 this tour. Only show I haven't been to yet, went to this tour was Rogers, Arkansas, which was a total dud.
In
So
Mexico is part of this tour. Remember the
uh,
Almanac.
pause.
Almanac officially ruled on that. The King
On the team,
Almanac.
no. If you look on the baseball card, Mexico is not on there for the summer tour, and that's what I go by. What the tour
Ah,
shirt and all that says.
it's still the spring though. It's not even summer yet. So all these shows are frauds until that's like. All right, now fair
I'm
enough.
hoping maybe we'll get. Only song I really want to hear is "Fool to Think,"
And was played in Mexico.
which
so,
was
so,
played
so
south of the border.
yeah. I was supposed to get Fool to Think at Sound on Sound last year, and there was a thunderstorm. Still haven't gotten it. Been chasing it. Love it. What You Are, Fool to Think are songs that I think this band does great in its current iteration. When I've heard audio and I've heard What You Are live, those are two songs you don't need a violin. Everyone
Fall
else,
Tour. Check out Fall Tour 2010. What You Are. That's the best iteration of What You Are.
oh, I know the MSG one was a little bit of like, it was like a little funkier. It had
Yeah,
that da, 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 da,
yeah.
da,
It was way funkier. I miss that version of What You Are.
I
When they-
walk into this room. Like, yeah, that
yeah.
was, I was like, oh, this a whole vibe. All right. Well, hey, thank you, John, for coming on. Are you gonna be available tomorrow?
Yes, sure. I'll be available tomorrow and then I'm gonna have a long break, and then after that I won't be back until Deer Creek. So I'm pretty burnt out anyway. Like I'm at the end of my wits right now. So the social battery is like on -15 right now. So I definitely need
All
a
right.
break from this.
All right. Hey, and listen, you're not the only one. I know. Shout out to Dave Bigler and uh, Alex Sohani. I think they're both kind of just cooling down. They're usually at a lot of shows every year, and sometimes that happens. So get some rest. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Take care.
All right, peace.
All right. Thank you to John Dix. And Mickey's heading to Dead and Company. I actually, I have mixed feelings about Dead and Company. I hope you enjoy it, Mickey, first and foremost. It's weird because I was like, at the beginning of this tour, I was like, yo, Dead and Company's like, I don't know. And they did a great job at Cornell. The opening show at the Forum was great as well. Oh, Tyler says it was the same artist Bailey Ray's. Okay. I know Bailey was today. I didn't know if they did I never got the name of the artist for that Guilford one when I was there. Usually I check the poster forms and things like that. Um but yeah, the Beatles cover. Listen, I don't there's a lot of blind spots in my music, but Abbey Road is one of the albums that from the Beatles that I know well. But like for instance, the White Album from the Beatles, like I know songs from it, but I haven't had time to sit and listen through. I've listened to Abbey Road at least 20, 30 times. And that's with all the other music. And I admittedly have a lot of blind spots in music. But I have stuff that I have heard. It's just that it's so overwhelming. And sometimes I get stuck in certain places and don't explore out. I become introverted, and I get bored in certain catalog, even legendary catalogs. Like, nah, I just want to stay here and listen to this music that I know and grew up with, and then I hop over here and there. So, this one is one I love. I love again. It has that bluesy feel and dark feel. Um, so I don't play much Beatles. It's weird. The Beatles, like, because as a guitar player, you can play through Dave Matthews stuff, and there's a lot there. For some of the stuff George Harrison did, there's definitely iconic parts, but like they had so much more than just a guitar. Even though they're a rock band, like it's hard to explain, but like there's so many elements of the studio and of the live, like what they did live, that it's not as guitar friendly to just hop in and you can play the whole song on an acoustic, right? There's some songs you can, but like I know I got one song I did learn was Blackbird. I think I played this before, but like I know that, but that's like one of the few songs that you can do and kind of really the guitar holds that main part. Thank you. Yeah, so like I learned Blackbird back in college. And I was like, oh, it makes me feel like, oh, I'm a real guitar player. But I'm I struggle. I do stuff good, and I need to improve stuff. and I'm left-handed, but I learned it right-handed just because I didn't want to buy a left-handed guitar. Like I know Paul McCartney plays the bass left-handed. Anyway, long story, but um, interesting journey learning guitar with the opposite hand, the non-dominant hand. But it works out. It worked out. Um, yeah. So just to go again, the Sirius XM version of Around the Moon is different than the version that they have for mass consumption. In my opinion, the Sirius XM version should be how it sounds on Spotify and Apple Music. And I think if they had that version on Spotify and Apple Music, it would be for people who only check out the first 2 minutes of the album of Walk Around the Moon. I think if they heard the Sirius XM version, they're more likely as a casual or non-fan to be like, hey, I wanna put that in my playlist. I want to add this to my rotation. So it is a little bit disappointing, but this is DMB. They're and nobody's perfect, and this band still is just extremely popular for how long they've been around. But there's just missteps that in my opinion, that hey, whatever that Sirius XM thing got, put that in my soup. That's what I think. I just think it was like, and I didn't catch it the first because I was exhausted that night. I mean, I was exhausted that night for when Walk Around the Moon came out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, like I said, we'll get some calls in. Let's take a look. I I do want to just make a PSA that we have some shows coming up. Let's see. And if you want to be on the post show stream, so Cincinnati again, I will try to get as many people on as possible. I don't know what happened, Mike. I don't know. I think I lost Michael, but the Wilmington, North Carolina shows would love to have people on, and then the Charleston, South Carolina shows, just kind of going region by region, week by week. I could really use people for those shows. If you are going to the show and want to be on, hit me in the comments, hit me on Twitter, YouTube, ConcertViz34. YouTube and Instagram are the best because you can message me or tag me, and then I can figure out, hey, you want to be on? Okay, cool. You can always put in the comments of YouTube or tell me, hey, my IG is this, and I'll message you. But would love to have, my goal is every year to have at least one person from every show. If I'm not there, and if I'm there, I give my review, and maybe I have someone on. Just depends. It could be a coin flip. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I love hearing the perspective of people that were there, and I think it's very interesting. This album, people that have been down on this band for the last 15 years, as far as like not having confidence in their studio work, are excited about it. Some people who liked Come Tomorrow don't like Walk Around the Moon. Some people who didn't like Come Tomorrow don't like Walk Around the Moon. So there's an interesting cross section of people, and there's people that are definitely, you asked them last Friday, they're not as big of a fan when it first came out. They had heard the singles and then heard the album and they weren't as big. And then there's people like those people, sometimes now they're transferring over to I like it. And still some people who don't like some of the elements, the production messes with them. Everyone's different. But people who care about that production, as far as how they judge it, no matter how good a song is lyrics wise, if it's not produced well, it's just a turn off for them. So there's a lot of different opinions about it. It's okay if you don't like it, and it's okay if you do, in my opinion. I think there's cases for both things, and I love how it's short. I think less is more for this band now. I don't think they can make Lion Our Graves last stops anymore. I don't, unless, I mean, listen, there's been so many hardships and struggles, and there's literally a pandemic, and they make nice, short, sweet songs, but they haven't had another Drunken Soldier, nor should they try to. I like what they did with this album, and that it's short and sweet. Some of the stuff will be extended. Some of it will have transitions and segues, as we saw tonight, and some won't. All right, wow, hour 32 is almost as long as a show, bro. So I'm gonna pop off here. But thank you guys. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Henry. And thank you to John Dix, the hometown boy. We are going to head out. Let's see. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to end with Beach Ball, this Hartford show. Now it's the 27th now, but which I think is my Goose anniversary. I think I think 27th was my first Goose show. Let's see if I can get the Beach Ball. All right, we're going to play this Beach Ball. If it'll load. This was a song that I just think is beautiful. So we'll listen to it. And see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Come on the stream. Thank you guys for joining. This summer is going to be great. It's going to be great. And I look forward to seeing how many more surprise, the various guests and the various shows that we'll have. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Hello, stars in the sky. Heaven wants you. Answer me and why I ring the bell till someone